Welcome to NVB Decode, a podcast where we talk to leaders, entrepreneurs, visionaries from different industries. Today we have with us Mr. Ganesh Balakrishnan, co-founder of Flatheads and a serial entrepreneur. So, welcome to the show, sir. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Sujay. Glad to be here and excited for the next few minutes of question and answers.
We'll try and speak about where the D2C space is right now and where do you think it is going and the whole Make in India angle of it all. So, getting right into it, so D2C space, we are hearing a lot of that over the last few months and maybe last year or so. Where do you think we are at present in India in the premium D2C space?
I truly believe that this is the decade for D2C brands to emerge in India. It is the timing is right. The macroeconomics in terms of the buying power, the discretionary spends, and the income levels of the population has started to reach the right numbers, where you have enough money left over after your roti kapda makan is done in order to
Yeah,
spend on discretionary items. That is when a lot of the differentiated products start coming out, right? So
true.
people move from commodities to demand what's next, right?
Yeah,
What more can I get? And demand an emotional association with the brands beyond just purely the functional benefit that you get from each of those things. So I believe across categories you're going to see a surge in brands. A lot of brands are going to come. It starts with food and beverage.
yeah,
Now, if you look at the last year, in the last 350 days, there have been more than 1,000 personal care and F&B brands that have been launched. That
yeah,
is, on average, is three per day. That is incredible, isn't it? Right?
yeah,
There is a lot of action that happens when new brands are launched. There are new positionings. People have started, you have different communications, different value propositions, different audiences that you target, different personas. So you will see a lot more segmentation of the market happening, right? So if you want healthy food, there'll be a different food
yeah.
brand. If you want sustainable, if you want vegan, if you want what do you call those mock meats, right? If you want fitness,
Alternate meats.
alternate meats, if you want fitness, if you want sustainability, if you want organic, there are so many segments that you can start building
Yeah,
around every category that you will start seeing brands emerging. The beauty of the D2C space is also that it is not like a tech game.
yeah,
In the tech markets, typically it's a oligopoly that eventually becomes, right. There will be two or three players in the market who will survive, and the rest of them will either get acquired or die out.
yeah,
Right? If you look at Amazon and Flipkart, they are the only guys there in the marketplace space. Zomato and Swiggy are the only guys remaining in the
yeah.
food delivery space. Big Basket and probably a couple of others like Grofers are there in the food.
Grofers got acquired by Zomato too, so that is
Oh
also
yeah, there you
fascinating.
go. So so typically tech propositions play out as oligopolies at the end of the day,
Yeah,
right? Facebook, Google being the big daddies out there in the global scenario.
yeah,
In brands, it is not so, right? Every need of the customer, every segment of the customer population, every price point, every subcategory has a potential for a new brand, right? So many brands can coexist at the same time, right? In every category. That's the beauty of retail. That's the beauty of choice that the customer demands, right? So. Which is why it is a lot more exciting. There is a lot more entrepreneurship. There is a lot more potential. There is a lot more defining your audience clearly and building the right products for them. Right. So there is a lot more action to be had and a lot more fulfillment to be had while building a D2C brand.
yeah,
So I genuinely believe that this is the decade for this to happen in India. And if you're here in this space as either a founder or a consumer, strap in for the ride. You're going to enjoy the freedom of choice that you get right now.
yeah. So, when we talk about this industry actually just about to get like go boom, there are two things that probably come to mind, which are again the technology penetration into the tier two, tier three, wherein a lot of new consumers are being developed in these cities, in these areas, and the whole marketing aspect of it all, wherein it has become a lot more about influencer marketing rather than your celebrities and stuff like that. So these two things, what kind of a role do you think they are going to play going forward as well? I mean, so far they have made a huge impact, but going forward,
It is going to be very much the way the brands communicate with their audience has changed fundamentally
yeah,
right now over the last at least 5 years with the emergence of the whole influencer marketing
yeah,
as a domain. Um, it is more about authenticity now, right? You need to be real, and you know, brands are actually living creatures, if you will, right? They
yeah,
interact with the audience. They have a personality of their own. They stand for something which you may or may not agree with. If you agree with it, you are part of the brand. If you don't agree with it, you hate it, right? So there is a love
yeah,
hate relationship going on there, and people are emotionally connected to brands as well, right? So you cannot be purely, celebrity endorsed.
yeah,
Like for example, the pan masala brands right now, right? So there's
yeah.
Ajay Devgan and Shah Rukh Khan talking on the screen. It used to be Pierce Brosnan talking at one point in time.
Yeah, that
Uh,
was really weird, by the way. Just going to put it out there.
so it is not that anymore. It is not just celebrities pushing the brand and the same celebrity endorsing 15 different brands at the same time, right? So those days are gone. Now people want to feel connected. People want to their values to be reflected in the brands that they use as well, right?
Yeah,
So a lot of that authenticity comes from getting real people, interacting with the brands and talking about the brands because they genuinely believe in it. It is not just
yeah,
an endorsement. Yes, there is a lot of endorsement game going on as well in the influencer space, but that is the initial noise that happens when every new industry develops, right? So eventually that will scale, and that will evolve into a much more nuanced form of communication with the audience, where you will only associate with genuine people who believe in the brand. They will try the product out first, and only when they talk, when they believe in the product, will they talk about it, right? So those kind of genuine associations will start happening, and that's how the influencer marketing domain will evolve. It will become an integral part of marketing for sure. The celebrity model, I wouldn't say is dead; it is still alive. But even there, even in the celebrity model, yeah, take an example of Shilpa Shetty and Mama Earth, right? So she lives and breathes the healthy lifestyle every day, right? So she fits in very well with the brand and what the brand stands for. So those kind of associations will become a lot more pronounced, where even celebrities, the brands will demand and the audience will demand that they actually believe in the products that they endorse, right? So
yeah,
that is how it will eventually land up as. And we are already seeing the initial phases of that, where celebrities are not just doing endorsement, but they're also investing in the brand in terms
yeah,
of equity, right? So now that means that they really have skin in the game. They believe in it, and they really want to take that story forward and see the upside for themselves as well, along with the brand as the brand grows, right? So a lot of those kind of deals will start happening as well going forward, is what it will be.
and what about the penetration into the tier two, tier three segment? Do you,
Tier two, tier three. Right now, D2C brands, in terms of differentiation, are still very much focused on the urban agglomeration, which is the top
yeah,
20 to 30 cities, the top 100 million audience, if you will. Beyond that, we will start seeing a lot more of the space opening up over the next, 5 to 10 years, is what I feel. It's still early days right now.
yeah,
Typically, if you see the graduation of the consumer, right, they first come in to the internet and information age for information and
yeah,
communication, right? First you start talking, then you start video chatting, right? Then so it is about communication and information first. Then it is about entertainment, which is the TikTok, right?
yeah,
And all the Chingaris and the Joshes of the world, the Moj and
yeah,
God knows how many other apps are out there, right? That is where that audience is after the first level of information. So information,
yeah,
communication, then comes transaction, right?
yeah,
So social commerce itself is going to be a big deal, where
yeah,
people who are doing entertainment will start moving into the commerce zone. That's where the influencers come in as well, right? People will start believing a lot in the entertainment part first, and then through that they will get introduced into transaction and commerce, right?
yeah,
So that's the way that industry will evolve. Is my hunch, if you will. It has evolved like that in China, and There is a real scope of that happening in India as well. It is definitely interesting, but it is not interesting for the next 2 to 3 years. It is still very much entertainment based for the next 2 to 3 years, is what I believe. It will start happening when price points and scale of D2C brands also becomes so high that they can actually afford to get more affordable in terms of their price points in order to introduce it to that audience. Tier 2, Tier 3, I'm not talking in terms of geography, but more in terms of economic level.
Yeah, fair enough.
So when the price points align is when that demand will pick up as well, right? So right now, D2C brands, because their scale is so small, cannot cater to that as effectively as they could at scale, right? So eventually, once the D2C brand starts reaching scale and the price point starts dropping, is when you will start seeing a lot of that adoption taking place in Tier 2, Tier 3 as well. That will happen in that 4 years to 10 years kind of time frame, for sure. Is what I believe.
Okay. So, like you said, we are still in a very early stage, but over the last 350 days, there has been a huge boom in terms of the number of brands, the sheer number that is coming into the market. So, any D2C brand out there, any new entrepreneur out there with the basic idea, whatever the idea is, what are the barriers for them when they are entering the space right now in any particular niche?
I wouldn't say there are any barriers. If you identify a very specific consumer need, right? I wouldn't say problem. Problem, then the thought process goes around medical Ayurveda and health and fitness. So let's not call it a problem. Let's call it a need. If you're able to identify a very critical need that is still unsolved in the market, that becomes the starting point. And if you're able to solve that using a great product, which is significantly better than what exists in the audience in the brand ecosystem right now, then you've got something going, right? So effectively, if you're able to identify that well, and if you're able to build a product that hits it out of the park in terms of a solution, then there is nothing stopping you here. Then it is just about getting the resources to build the product and launching it out there, and there is enough funds in the economy right now to make that happen. And the other beauty of brands also is that it doesn't have to be a bleed game from day one. You can actually build sustainable economics very quickly. You can get to a bit of profitability very quickly, right? Then the speed of growth depends on how much funds you have, but you can still grow and grow profitably in any niche that you've identified if the product market fit is there, right? So I would definitely say if somebody has a powerful insight that they want to translate into a product, that is something that they should definitely go after. I don't think there is anything stopping you. Given that the pandemic has completely changed the way people shop as well, right? Online has suddenly become mainstream. Online used to be very niche. Now it has suddenly become mainstream. People are starting to discover products online. Discovery was always restricted to going out and finding brands. Now things have become completely digital. People are willing to try new stuff which they have never tried before online, right? Now that is a huge change. There was always this trust saying ये साड़ी ठीक रहेगा कि नहीं, ये हाथ लगाया तो पता लगेगा कि नहीं. It was always this कि will the touch and feel be okay in the back of your mind, right? But that is gone. That has completely disappeared now. People are much more comfortable buying online. So this is the age for digital brands. In digital brands, you don't need to stock inventory as well, right? So all you need is one shoe in order to take a picture and put it out there in the catalog. That's all you need. One photo shoot के लिए एक जूता चाहिए. I may not have inventory in the backend. जब order आएगा तो I will go and make those shoes. That is also possible, right? So you can be as lean as that in your inventory as well. You don't need to invest in capital to lock up inventory. पहले तो दुकान में जाना था तो if you had to put something on the shelf, you need at least X amount of products in an assortment. You needed to buy X amount of shelf space. You need to put so much inventory in every shop. There is so much that you had to do in terms of capital investment upfront. All that has gone away right now, right? So I'm saying the barrier to entry for anybody in the D2C space is almost zero at this point in time. It is just about the conviction and finding the right insight to go and build a business for yourself.
And probably finding the right voice, if I'm not wrong, as a brand, like you were saying earlier. Like as a brand, if you want somebody to actually connect with you and advocate for you, and finding that right voice probably will be a very huge thing going forward.
Absolutely. That is the next step. In the beginning, if you're able to find a loyal audience, the audience themselves will talk about it. Right? So you don't need a celebrity for it. In the initial stages for your brand to pick up, what you really need is a great product that the customer will identify and say, wow, it is really solving a need for me, right?
Yeah.
Then your brand will take off. After that, the acceleration is brought in by the right voice and the right brand identity and all that stuff. But if you're able to find the insight, that is enough for you to launch the brand, is all I'm saying. It's scaling and growing faster where is where the voice starts playing a larger role.
Yeah. So when we talk about, then like you said, pandemic has also taught people to just explore a little more, and I feel people are a little more conscious also as to what they are purchasing, as opposed to anything and everything on the marketplace, or your Mintras and your Amazons or whatever. But now, going forward in the D2C space, in any niche, maybe even the footwear space or anything else, uh, what needs to be done about the growth of this particular site, especially when you take into the whole making in India, and the whole campaign that is happening, and the whole awareness that is being generated as to just make in India and sell in India. What do you think needs to improve there?
Those the sourcing ecosystem in India has to start thinking a lot more quality, right? So I think the entire ecosystem needs to build together, where the brands need to demand it from their suppliers, and the suppliers need to recognize that okay, this is a shift that is happening in the market, right? People are
Yeah,
not just buying stuff in high volumes and trying to sell it out there. People are now actually starting to think about what is different, what is quality, what is world class quality that we can produce locally. Um, and that shift is happening. It's not like it is not happening at all. There are enough suppliers who have been supplying to European and American brands out there who are now genuinely working with Indian brands in order to build their products. Right.
yeah,
So that quality ethos is already there, which people recognize, and bringing that to the Indian brand ethos is also something that is starting to happen. The next generation of people who are taking over from their parents and elders in the
yeah,
manufacturing ecosystem as well have that ethos built in, right? They are
yeah,
not thinking ki mujhe yahan pe, I will reduce the quality and try to make more money and try fleecing my client in the process. That is not there anymore. People are genuinely wanting to associate themselves with the whole make in India for the world kind of movement.
yeah,
Right, and they understand it. There is a pride in something that we are
yeah,
we are what we stand for. So yes, there is an emotional and a nationalist undertone to the whole thing as well, undercurrent to the whole thing. Well, nationalist is a very abused word, but I'm using it in this context. Right, make in
I
India
think this is probably the
is a
right
thing of
context.
pride. Right. So yes, definitely the entire ecosystem has to grow, and
Yeah,
along with that, the as you start seeing a lot of scale in that, even the macro in terms of the regulatory environment will also change. You
yeah,
will see governments also starting to support this movement. Make in India is a big thing already, right? There are enough
yeah,
subsidies and stuff like that, but that has been more in the infrastructure space. In
yeah,
consumer space as well, now you'll start seeing a lot more happening there, and all that will contribute to the tailwinds for the D2C brand movement itself, right? So yeah, definitely something to look forward to from an Indian brand perspective for sure.
So I'll try and wrap up now. One last question. What is your one big hope for the space over the next maybe 5 years?
One big hope for the space.
Yeah,
I would sincerely hope that people define uh, the right way to reach their audience and the right way to communicate the brand proposition very well.
yeah,
At least in the D2C space, because creating the products and creating great quality is something that is hygiene that you have to do
yeah,
anyway, right? And that will happen. But beyond that, the biggest challenge for people who are not used to brands is this whole, how do you create differentiation, right? How do you create communication with a messaging that sticks with the audience, that
Yeah.
places you apart from everybody else who is out there in the market, right? How do you reach out to the right consumer? That understanding is very critical in building a brand, right? Most of the people who have grown through the e-commerce ecosystem in India have grown through marketplaces, right? The Amazons and the Flipkarts of the world.
Yeah.
There again, it is not about creating differentiation. It is about providing selection and convenience, right? So
Yeah.
it was about selection and convenience. Amazon will give you 24-hour delivery, and the catalog. Once you search on Myntra for shoes, you will find 17,000 shoes out there, right?
Yeah.
So there is a massive plethora as a catalog. It's like walking into a supermarket here. Everything is available. You go and pick,
True.
and that supermarket itself is thousands of square feet large, right? So that's what the marketplace sense is. But D2C is not that. D2C is creating a very small niche, understanding the value proposition and communicating it and differentiating yourself in the market, right? So it is all about the long tail, as Amazon calls it, right? So creating that positioning is very, very critical. And that is a learning that we need to do. I'm not saying that we are experts. We are also learning in the process. And there are people who have done it brilliantly. Look at Boat, right?
Yeah.
Look at Mamaearth. Look at Sugar, the cosmetics brand. They have done a brilliant job in creating the positioning for themselves and talking a very clear voice, whole truth, that little health bar thing. What crystal clear communication, right? As soon as you go to their Instagram page, to their website, to their product, you try the product, you know exactly what it is from the first point all the way to experiencing the product. It is so consistent. It is so beautiful.
Yeah.
There is a lot to learn there, right? So I think we need to do a lot more of that, and that's what my hope is. I hope that there are a lot more people who create marketing and branding stories that resonate with the audience a lot more, and not just functional aspects where celebrity ko chipka diya aur fir they started talking, right? I think we need to move beyond that very quickly. And the sooner we do that, the better.
Very fair. That's a very positive note to end on, sir. Thank you so much for being a part of this and sharing your insight into this side of the world. And I'm sure anybody out there listening will have a lot to learn. I personally learned a lot. Thanks once again.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, man. I enjoyed this interaction. And hope your audience gets good juice out of this conversation. Awesome.
Thank you.